Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I'm going to apologise for the strange lighting in here. It's like raining outside and I've got this kind of blue tinge everywhere. But besides that, you still get my awesome, beautiful face to look at. Yeah. So in this video, I want to address something. It's a question that I get quite a lot, and it's something that is it's very serious, and like it needs to really be understood with eating disorders. And that is the fact that, the question of whether you can actually ever recover from an eating disorder. Will you ever be rid of an eating disorder, or is it with you for life? Now, I don't want to sound morbid and I don't want to sound really, really negative here, but from the outset, I just want to make it clear that no, you can never be fully recovered from an eating disorder. And wait, before you guys all jump down my throat, before I get a load of people on here saying, but no, I'm fully recovered, not me, like you out there is fully recovered. What I just want to reiterate here is, by full recovery, I mean that, it's as if your eating disorder never existed. Now, eating disorders, the best way that I can compare it is a little bit like alcoholism. You can never be rid of it. You're always just in remission. And when you reach remission, you can be 99.9% recovered. You can live a completely normal life, but there's still that possibility that you could potentially relapse, and you have to be aware of that. Now, it doesn't mean that every single action in every moment of your life you're like, oh my god, I need to be aware that I don't relapse. You just live a normal life and it becomes a distant memory almost. But the fact is that there is the possibility that you could relapse, and to just have that in the back of your mind is one of the most important things just to bear in mind, because you will know certain things that will possibly trigger you to have a relapse, or like to make you feel vulnerable again. To be aware that when you are in really stressful or vulnerable or like distressful situations, that you just keep tabs on things you're eating or your exercise habits, or just how you feel about yourself, your emotions, and that is how you will continue to have a robust remission. You can have a robust remission, but what I'm saying here is, once you have an eating disorder, you're never going to be 100% rid of it. It sounds morbid, but it's not really, because you have the power to get yourself 99.9% recovered, which practically is recovered anyway. And so I just want to say that. Now I want to use a little analogy to explain it a little bit better, to explain this whole concept. Now imagine you have a light switch and you flip that switch down. That's kind of like an eating disorder. Once that switch is flipped down, that's it, switched on. But the thing is, you can't flip that switch back up again. Imagine you flip it down and it breaks. Fuck, the room's in darkness. That's it. And you cannot fix it. Right? That switch will never go back up again. However, although the room's in darkness, there are steps that you can take to rectify that. You can bring in new lighting, you can bring in candles, whatever. But that one light and that switch that is broken can't be repaired, okay? And so it'll never be the same again. But the room can still be lit up. It might take a huge process, and like buying new things, and it might take some time to get things the way that you want it, and whatever, blah blah blah. But this is a strange analogy, but bear with me. But you know what I'm saying, right? It doesn't mean that the room is in complete darkness forever. And how light you bring that room, how light you make that room again really depends on the effort and the time that you're willing to take to really work on it. And it might be difficult. You might have to humph huge lights away up to your house, and spend a lot of time trying to find the right lights for you and to light up your room. This is getting kind of weird now, but I hope you guys are bearing with me. So what I'm saying here is that switch is flipped. The anorexia, the eating disorder, it's not going away. But you need to spend time working on your recovery and doing the best that you can to basically light up your life again, and to kind of navigate the steps that are required for you to overcome that eating disorder. And it takes a conscious effort. It's not just going to happen like that. It's not going to be laid out in front of you. You need to take action, and you need to take responsibility for your recovery. And that, obviously, if you're an adult, right, then that obviously lies in your shoulders, because you're responsible for your life. You're responsible for reaching out, like getting the help you need, whether you need to pay for that. I've had to pay for help, whether you get that funded off the NHS or like private healthcare or whatever. Whatever it is that you need to do, you need to like be the bigger person and be like, hold your hands up and be like, I need help here. I need to surrender and actually get help off of professionals. Now, if you are someone who is under the age of 18, and I know there are some of you who watch my channel, you need to just trust in the adults, right? Trust in your parents, trust in the services, the medical services, the doctors, the nutritionists who are out there to help you. If there's one thing I can say to you guys, right, I'm in my late 20s. If I could go, I've had this eating disorder and like eating disorder related behaviour since I was about 5 years old, right? Now, if I could go back to my younger self and say one thing, it would be, don't procrastinate and just trust the people that are trying to help you. Because I've wasted so many years thinking that I was above those people, that those people were out to get me, and that I knew better. Lauren always knows best. Now, I'm a very intelligent person. Not blowing my own trumpet here, but I am. I was always top grades in school. Like, I'm not a stupid girl, but there are things that I know better in. But when it comes to eating disorders, although I know so much about eating disorders now, when it came to my own eating disorder, that wasn't Lauren. That was the eating disorder voice, right? I was not responsible for that, and I was listening to a voice that I thought was me, but it was an eating disorder voice disguised as my voice. And that is the case for everyone with an eating disorder. Although you think that you're being logical and that you're making the right decisions, the fact is that sometimes you cannot distinguish between who it is that is making those decisions, right? It probably is not you. It is probably that eating disorder voice. And when people used to say that to me, I got so offended and so hurt. I was like, how dare you say that? Are you calling me a freak or something? Like, I know my own mind. But the fact is, I didn't know my own mind. I thought I did, but I didn't. And that is something that, it's a very difficult thing. You feel like you're letting go of control. And eating disorders are all about control, right? You don't want to give the control away to your parents or to a treatment team, or, this goes as well if you're an adult. Give the control away to someone else, okay? Or at least have like some accountability, right? Because you can't distinguish, and I'm telling you that it's like what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a distinguishing feature of the illness, right? That is what it does to you. It is so confusing. And I could personally, I sat all of my exams when I was in hospital, right? I had no tuition or anything. Sat all my exams, I got A's. I was completely coherent, right? And I was in a psychiatric ward with you know, people who had psychosis and all different mental illnesses, and they were like, they weren't there, if you know what I mean. They weren't like conscious, you know. I don't want to like say anything bad about people with mental illnesses or anything, because God, I understand, and I lived with them for 3 years, and I like have nothing but empathy and everything. But what I mean is, like, they were either on medication or their illness was making them not coherent and not there in the moment. But me, I was completely there, apart from when it came to food. When it came to food and eating and body image and exercise, I was away with it. You know, I was not logical at all. You know, I mean, what kind of, so I mean, I'll go into behaviours and things in other videos, but for an example, what kind of person would go and sit and have lunch and then sneak away into the hospital toilets and start jogging on the spot? And like, sorry, sorry if that triggers anyone, but you know, that is the reality of it. That is what I used to do. You know, and then like I'd do as much as I could. I mean, what, that's not normal. Other rest of the psychiatric patients were probably like, man, she's weird. Like, but do you know what I'm saying here? So you need to let go of control. You need to let someone else take over if you even want a chance of like reaching a robust remission, sorry. So like I say, it is possible to live a completely recovered, completely healthy life. There are so many people out there that have done it. Maybe some of you guys are already living it. You are like living the dream, essentially, as weird and wacky as that sounds. But you know, to someone who is suffering from an eating disorder, that is the dream, to not have it anymore, to not suffer anymore, to not get up every morning and be like, fuck, I've still got this. Like, 20 years later, I've still got this. So just to sum up this video, no, you cannot completely ever recover from an eating disorder, but you can reach remission and reach like 99.9% recovery, which is a very robust remission. Also, just to encourage you, reach out for help, surrender, let other people. Do not think that your thoughts are right. You know, okay, have accountability, get help, please. It's the best thing that you will ever do. And I've made this video obviously for you guys out there who are suffering from eating disorders, who maybe need a little kick up the ass, and also for people who just want to understand a little bit more about why people can't just recover. Why can you not just do it? Or why do people relapse? You know, why do they not just get rid of their eating disorder? You know, that we need to like bring awareness to this and actually help people to understand, or at least try to understand. No one will truly understand unless you actually have it, or even like study it really in depth. Then you might have some sort of understanding, but no one will truly understand unless you actually have the eating disorder. You know, I'm not talking here about like little diets and things and people get a little bit obsessed with calorie counting. I'm talking about full blown eating disorders here. Okay, there is a difference. Eating disorders are not a diet, and diets are not eating disorders. Diets can become kind of disordered eating, disordered relationship to food and body image, but they're not eating disorders. Also, I would like to say that not everyone can develop an eating disorder. That switch, right? The thing that I want to say about the switch, right? When it breaks and it can't go back up again, that is not the case for everyone. Some people can just flip it back up again. But with an eating disorder person, that switch goes down and it breaks. It can't go back up, right? There is a lot of research being done at the moment, and it's to do with genes and everything. And some people are genetically predisposed to developing an eating disorder, right? And some people aren't. Some people will never get an eating disorder, right? Like, you know, that's how some people can diet and do all these things and they never get an eating disorder, whereas some people will diet and bam, eating disorder. Now I'm going to do another video in which I talk about a little bit more about that, right? About what triggers it off, right? There's a lot of science behind that, but I'll go into that in another video. But I just want to reiterate that not everyone's switch will break. When the switch breaks, that's for people who are genetically predisposed to an eating disorder, and the eating disorder is triggered, bam, that's you.